There are some pressures that come so strong that if you don't move, you're going to die. How could you let me die and I'm a child of God? You didn't move. I told you to move. And when God tells you to move, you got to move. And don't act like God has failed you when you have failed to move. You're resigning from your own destiny. You're resigning from your own purpose. You're resigning from what God called you to do. And you're going to be out of place for a while. It's okay. I know you smell right now. I know you don't have the right clothes right now. I know you don't have the degrees they have. But if God invited you into the room, walk up in that room. Jacob has told his sons, you will not defeat the famine looking at each other. Did you hear what I'm saying? Watch how Jacob handles the famine. Because my first point is the famine. And until you can deal with the famine, you will never get to better. Because the famine is a part of your journey. How you react to the famine determines whether you make it to the food. You've got to be aggressive. You can't just pray against the famine. You've got to do something. Jacob says you can't just pray against it. You can't just look at each other. You can't stay in the same spot and do the same things that you've always done and expect to get a different result, because we're in a famine and you've got to take action. And we don't understand that today. We don't understand the human requirement in the miracles of God. As much as we have read about the miracles of God, we walk away with praise to God, but absolve ourselves of human responsibility. As if God were going to act outside of human effort, when God has created us to be collaborative in the miraculous. Oh, I'm talking already. He wants us to be collaborative in the miraculous, that we have a responsibility to take action and to be aggressive about resolving issues. Just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you get to pray for a job and stay at home. I'm just going to pray. If the Lord wants me to have the job, he'll give me a job. I'm just going to watch TV and hit the remote control and believe God for better. You'll never get to better if you don't get on the road. You gotta get on the road in the middle of famine. They're traveling in the middle of a famine. Now, traveling is not fun anytime, but traveling in the middle of a famine is a very difficult time, because the famine is so severe that Jacob says, if you don't move, you're going to die. Now, I don't know who I'm talking to tonight, but there are some pressures that come so strong that if you don't move, you're going to die. How could you let me die and I'm a child of God? You didn't move. I told you to move. And when God tells you to move, you got to move. And don't act like God has failed you when you have failed to move. When God says move, you have to take action, whether you're the prodigal son who came to himself, but he still had to go home. Or whether you're the woman with the issue of blood who believed that Jesus could heal her, but she still had to crawl. Or whether you're blind Bartimaeus standing by the highway side begging, he still had to come out of his coat and go toward Jesus. There is a human responsibility in spite of the famine. So you got to move in the middle of a famine, in the middle of a need, in the middle of a storm, in the middle of a crisis. And he sends his boys to go from Canaan to Egypt because Jacob heard where there was food. Don't hate on people who have even when you don't have. Because he didn't hate on Egypt. He said, I'm going to Egypt. See, we sit back and hate on people as if them having is our demise, when it's not them having that is our enemy, it's us not moving that is our enemy. And the Bible says that though they didn't have any corn, they had money. And people don't quote it too much, but the Bible also says that money is the answer to all things. It's the answer to all things. If it's a thing, money can buy it. There are some issues that cannot be resolved by things, but money answereth all things. So Jacob told the boys, he gave them some money and said, go down to Egypt and don't go down there begging. We came down here to do business. Yeah, we're spiritual people, but we know how to do business. We praise Jehovah, but we still know how to do business. Y'all not saying nothing to me tonight. See, the church has failed its parishioners because we have been real heavy on the praise and real light on the business. So we told them to praise your way out and dance your way out and spin around 3 times and you're going to come out, and sow a seed and you're going to get out. But we don't tell them that you've got that the blessings are transactional, that there's a business element required in it. And we got to go back and lay some foundation to understand that Jacob does not go down to Egypt to beg. He goes down there to do business, and he sends his sons down there to do business. But wait a minute, you have to realize, as we begin to talk about the famine, we have to understand that the famine is so severe that it pushes them to Egypt. Now, the second thing I want you to see about the famine is that God will use a famine to move you. It doesn't have to be a famine for food. It can be a famine for love. It can be a famine for peace. But in everybody's life listening at me, whether online or in the room, you have experienced some kind of famine. The famine of fatherhood, the famine of family, the famine of a mother's affection, the famine of a good job, the famine of a nice house. All of us have our famines. You might not be able to see it because we might dress nice and spray cologne over top of it, but all of us live with some level of famine in our lives. Famine makes you pray, and famine makes you seek God, and famine makes you cry out, and famine will make you move. And oftentimes God will use famine as an instrument to force you out of your comfort zone. It is more comfortable to stay in Canaan, but the famine will drive you out. It'll make you move. It'll make you get outside of your comfort zone. It'll make you travel. It'll put you on the road. Somebody say, I'm on the road. I'm not on the road for a field trip. I'm not on the road joyriding. I'm on the road to better. I'm on the road to better. There's something I'm after. There's something I want to see done in my lifetime. And I'm tired of sitting around assessing the same old troubles and crying about the same old problems and going through the same old things. I'm tired of complaining one to another back and forth. Oh, ain't it bad? Yeah, child, it's real bad. It's so bad. Not be performed where you are, and you've got to move in order to get it. And God knows that some of us won't move if we're too comfortable. Y'all aren't going to talk to me tonight. And so God uses the famine to force them to move, and they go down to Egypt to do business. Now, it is interesting to note that though there is a famine in Canaan, there is also a famine in this family. So my second point deals with the family. You have to understand that this text brings out subtly, ever so subtly in the text, I want to point it out to you. First thing that it tells us about Jacob is that Jacob sent his sons down to Egypt to buy. But then it mentions that he did not send Benjamin, lest he fall into mischief. And this is just a hidden, subtle reminder that Jacob doesn't totally trust his own sons. Now, where did this distrust come up in the culture of this family? This distrust comes up into the culture of the family. And you can act like you don't know what I'm talking about, but all of us have different little things that we know about our family that when cousin so-and-so comes over, you kind of look at them out the corner of your eye because you've been through some things where you've learned some things. And this culture has risen up in the family that the family is not fruitful and Canaan is not fruitful. And there is not the comfortable, loving environment of trust that would cause the family to be a nurturing place, because Jacob remembers what happened to Joseph. The last time Jacob sent one of his sons out with the rest of the sons, he turned up missing. And there's a residue of distrust in the old man with his sons that he says, I'm going to keep Benjamin. Now, the reason he's holding on to Benjamin and he let the rest of them go is that Joseph and Benjamin were born to him by Rachel, and Rachel was the love of his life. And the reason he's holding on to Benjamin is because that's all he's got left of Rachel. And he says, if I lose Benjamin, I'll lose all I have left of the best days in my life. And sometimes we hold on to things because we've been through so much pain that we become possessive. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. There's a reason you hold on to what you hold on, whether it's money or people or things. There's a reason you hold on to. There's a reason that certain things make you mad. There's a reason that you overreact in certain ways. There's a reason that if we hit certain pulse points, you respond differently than other people, because until you understand what I've been through back here, you won't understand why I'm holding on to this right here. What do you hold on to because of what you've been through? What do you hold on to because of what you've been through? For Jacob, the old man is holding on to